Destiny Payton didn't hold back when she sat down for that interview. She didn't ease into the conversation, drop hints, or toss out vague shade. Instead, she delivered a single, sharp line that cut through everything like a slap across the face. She was never a real friend. She didn't need to name names. Every fan watching knew exactly who she was talking about: Melody. And with that one sentence, years of brunch photos, sisterhood moments, and reality TV loyalty came crashing down in front of the entire Love and Marriage Huntsville audience. This wasn't the type of drama that explodes overnight. It wasn't a sudden scandal that blows up in one big fight. This was a slow burn, the kind of break you only notice once it's already too late to fix. From the outside, Destiny and Melody looked inseparable. They were the kind of pair fans called ride or die. Two confident, driven women who seemed to have each other's backs no matter what. They stood together through business ventures, painful divorces, cast drama, and public criticism. On camera, they laughed, encouraged each other, and showed up to support one another's projects. But then, things started to shift. The changes were small at first. Fans noticed the Instagram tag stopped. There were no more group selfies, no more playful comments under each other's posts. The casual girls' night pictures vanished. And then came the social media unfollow, the modern-day stamp of a friendship breakup. Still, even with all that, no one expected Destiny to come out swinging with such blunt honesty. What made her words land even harder was the fact that she had stayed silent for so long. She hadn't rushed to defend herself or throw accusations. She let people form their own opinions, watching the narrative unfold without jumping in. But everyone has a breaking point. For Destiny, that moment came when she realized her silence was being used against her. People were starting to fill in the blanks with their own stories, and those stories painted her as the problem. That's when she decided to speak up. According to Destiny, the friendship people saw on screen wasn't the same as the one behind closed doors. She claimed that Melody's warmth, her loyalty, and that ride-or-die attitude existed mostly when cameras were rolling. Off-screen, things were different. Messages went unanswered. Support turned into distance. Invitations stopped coming. The hurt wasn't just about losing Instagram interactions or missing out on business collaborations. It was personal. Destiny described one moment in particular that left her feeling deeply betrayed. She had confided in Melody, sharing something raw and private, not for ratings, not for gossip, just as one friend leaning on another. But somehow, little pieces of that personal story began surfacing in conversations, spread through small comments and subtle jabs. She never outright accused Melody of leaking it, but she didn't need to. The suggestion was clear. That was when her view of Melody changed completely. When someone you've defended, cried with, and trusted possibly lets your private pain become entertainment for others, it shifts everything. Destiny said she stopped seeing Melody as a sister and started seeing her as a co-star, someone playing a role. And once you see someone that way, it's hard to unsee it. Melody didn't ignore the situation either. The day after Destiny's interview aired, she went live on social media. She didn't name anyone, but her words were sharp. Some people only show up when it benefits them. I've outgrown fake loyalty. It sounded like empowerment, but fans knew it was shade. From there, the internet lit up. The fan base split into two camps, Team Destiny and Team Melody. Comments turned into full-on debates. Castmates liked shady posts. And reunions, which were already known for tension, suddenly became must-watch events. But Destiny insisted this wasn't about drama or scoring points. She said it was about reclaiming her voice. In reality TV, she explained, silence isn't neutral. It's a blank canvas that producers and viewers will fill in however they want, and she was done letting other people define her story. For Melody, being cast as the villain was unfamiliar territory. Her brand had always been built around strength, loyalty, and lifting others up. Destiny's words didn't just bruise her image, they cracked the foundation of how fans saw her. Still, she didn't lose her composure. Her public response stayed calm, vague, and controlled. But control only works until the noise around you becomes louder than your silence. And right now, Destiny's voice was echoing everywhere. In follow-up interviews, Destiny became more direct. She said Melody's kindness came with conditions, that their closeness often had to benefit Melody's brand to be real. Off-camera, Destiny claimed she felt more like an accessory than a friend. Fans started digging into old clips. Scenes that once looked sweet now seemed different. Melody speaking over Destiny, redirecting conversations, being quick to praise her on camera, but leaving her out of solo interviews. The questions started spreading. Had this friendship always been one-sided? Destiny even brought up missed business promises. Viewers remembered her launching her beauty line, and Melody, despite having a huge platform, barely mentioning it. For two women who had supposedly built each other up, that silence felt like a deliberate absence. One reunion moment especially stood out. Destiny was being criticized by other cast members, and Melody, the person who once called her a sister, sat quietly. No defense, no reassuring touch, no eye contact. Watching it now, with new context, fans saw it as cold and calculated. Meanwhile, Melody's allies posted vague statements about loyalty, growth, and cutting off negative energy. Other castmates weighed in subtly, liking certain comments or reposting quotes that didn't name names, but left little doubt who they were about. Through it all, Destiny didn't claim to be perfect. She admitted she could have communicated better at times, but she stood by her main point. She gave her friendship fully, and what she got back felt filtered, curated, and sometimes transactional. For longtime fans, the breakdown made more sense the more they looked back. The signs had been there: less screen time together, fewer joint appearances, and an energy shift you couldn't quite explain at the time. Destiny's claim that Melody was performing for the cameras no longer felt far-fetched. But even with all this drama swirling, one thing was missing: Melody's raw, unfiltered side of the story. Not a live full of vague quotes, not an Instagram caption about growth, the truth. Destiny had laid her feelings bare. Whether fans believed her or not, she was speaking with detail and emotion. Melody, on the other hand, was keeping her cards close, and that left the entire situation feeling unresolved. Destiny didn't stop there. She shared how she began to notice her absence in ways that went beyond emotion. Events she once got invited to no longer included her. Group chats went silent. Plans were made without her. Alliances shifted without her knowledge. It wasn't just distance, it was removal. Some skeptics suggested Destiny was using this as a way to stay relevant. She responded to that head-on, saying this had nothing to do with clout or publicity. It was about peace of mind. She had watched her image be shaped by other people's narratives for too long, and if she was going to be judged, she wanted it to be for her actual words, not an edited version. Meanwhile, Melody stayed steady in her own strategy. No blow-ups, no direct call-outs. She leaned into her businesses, posted about self-worth, and kept her public image polished. For some fans, this was admirable restraint. For others, it was avoidance. The show's producers weren't blind to the growing tension. They started teasing new season footage showing Destiny and Melody locked in what looked like a tense, emotional conversation. But anyone who's watched reality TV knows editing can twist a scene into 100 versions of itself. Fans were eager for that unedited moment. No dramatic music, no cutting away, just the raw exchange between two women who once called each other sisters. Destiny says she isn't looking for validation anymore. If people don't believe her, that's fine. She didn't speak out for sympathy. She spoke out so she could breathe again, to release a connection that, in her words, was gone long before anyone noticed. What began as quiet heartbreak had turned into public healing, and that, Destiny says, is worth every headline. Whether Melody will ever tell her full side remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, what was once one of reality TV's most genuine-looking friendships has now become one of its most unforgettable breakups. And for Destiny Payton, this wasn't just the end of a chapter, it was the start of a brand new one. So, here we are. A friendship that once looked unshakable has now become one of reality TV's biggest breakups. Destiny Payton has spoken her truth, laid out her side, and made it clear that she's no longer protecting an image that left her feeling invisible. For her, this isn't about getting likes, winning over fans, or throwing shade. It's about reclaiming her peace and walking away from a bond that no longer served her. Melody, on the other hand, has stayed quiet in her own way, choosing polished words, controlled appearances, and a focus on her brand. Whether that's strength or avoidance depends on who you ask. One thing's certain, her silence is just as loud as Destiny's words. Fans are still divided. Old clips are being rewatched. Social media is buzzing with theories. And with the new season teasing an intense face-to-face between these two, everyone's waiting to see if we'll get the unfiltered truth or just another chapter in the performance. Because in the world of reality TV, perception is everything. And right now, the question isn't just who's telling the truth, it's who you believe.